top of the morning to you all, and welcome to another edition of the Sal Greco Show. I'm your host, Sal Greco. Thank you all for being here. I see a lot of Frankie Palaguacci. Shout out to you. Jay Vindictive's on. Matt O'Brien. I see Baby Lou. He says cafecito time. I just actually had one on before it came. I actually had espresso, not cafecito. Lone Silencer. The cast of characters are always in here. Thank you all for being here. If you guys can, if you're watching us on Rumble right now, please hit that like button, hit the Rumble button, hit the notification button, follow us on there if you feel inclined to. If you're watching us on YouTube on the Sal Greco Show channel, where a lot gets posted on there, right? Please hit the like button, share this out. Also, don't forget that the hype button, there's a hype button. If you push that button, that helps this get over the social engineering. There's a ton of social engineering online. People that steal videos. You have bald manila midgets that then steal videos I put up, and it's just crazy stuff that you see. They're all trying to get paid and put out their own narratives. I just put the video up and go, look at this. So if you're on YouTube, please hit that like button, the share button, also notification button, hype button, and follow us on there. We're growing. We're over almost 7,100 subscribers as we speak. And of course, if you're watching on X on the Sal Greco handle, please like this and share this out, especially to all your friends. Many who are in the low information bubble don't even know how to vote in New York City, right? You had 2 million people at a parade. If those people showed up to vote, you wouldn't be crying about who's the mayor right now. But that's a whole nother story, right? Every time I bring that up, if people get, they'll get offended. But listen, a lot happened over the weekend. A lot happened. So much so that this was a can't miss of what I was going to do today, all right? And there's a couple of things to get to. There's social engineered videos online. It's just crazy stuff. They're still smearing Quatisha Epps. They're still smearing her. Even after everything, and you can say what you want, I literally posted all these videos. All I do is search for the truth, right? And bring the facts. And then I got to see people like Paul Monroe, big inspector on Fox News. He's jumping in on these narratives. But social engineers, guys, I tell you guys all the time, there's tons of it going on. We're going to show you a little bit of it later. So without any further ado, before I have our guest up, I'm going to bring on the producer, co-host, and wingman Jack Stern to the screen. Jack, briefly, I don't know if you know, I saw a lot of social engineering over the last couple of days.
It was a very eventful 24 hours. We had Mayor Mamdani, after going out and endorsing every candidate under the sun associated with the Democratic Party. He didn't name an endorsement in the one district that he's actually voting in, New York 12, where Alex Boras, Mr. AI, is running. We're going to talk about him a little bit later in the show. And then also that video with Quatisha Epps, which is now circulating on the internet. I want to put out a little clarification about that video. That video gives no factual information and nothing new. All it is an AI narrated montage of Lieutenant Epps speaking.
It is. It's AI.
It doesn't even incorporate any human perspective into it. And that short video, which is less than a minute, generated, as you guys can see here, 125,000 views in less than 24 hours, 3.7 thousand retweets, 7.9 thousand likes. I mean, I have trouble believing that this many people are tuned into the video to the point where they're that engaged. I don't believe that. I think that was some sort of narrative framing by someone or something. And then we're also going to have Dave Terrell on again today to talk about Commissioner Tisch and maybe her involvement with NY12 as well. I know that she probably wants to increase the level of video surveillance. So there's a lot brewing in One Police Plaza right now.
Not a shadow of a doubt. One Police Plaza. Listen, while on the last show, by the way, there were videos. I kept telling you people out there, the crowd, the viewership, and we love our viewers here, even all the haters. We have videos I had a video of the recruits actually springing into action that went viral everywhere. It actually went viral on TikTok, if you could believe that. This video showed these recruits out there. First of all, for every 8 recruits, there should be a supervisor. Here's an incident where, one guy, he's yelling about his wife. Here come the recruits, right? And now this woman, I don't know if it's his wife, but they start trying to argue with someone. Remember, these recruits don't have guns or shields yet. They're supposed to get him either today or look at that. He sucker punched him. And then they don't know what they're doing. They're like cubs. Where's the mama bear? Supervisor. Where are they? Where's the sergeant?
She'll come into frame momentarily.
Every 8 recruits needs a supervisor. And what they do is, I get it, because the recruits could be out there. You got other recruits out there for anything, but they have to be supervised, especially when they've never been out there before. They don't have guns, they don't have shields, and they don't have body cameras. And look, the blind's leading the blind out there. Who's taking control of this scene, right? So this thing went viral everywhere because people were asking tons of questions. They said, who are the gray shirts? They actually thought these were school safety. They failed to realize it was what we said the other day. It was recruits. They weren't being supervised. There was no one out there. I can't believe what I saw, because it should be that they run around, every 8 of them, with a supervisor, because that could happen. I know what they did. Soccer mom rolled the dice. Let's throw them out there, right? Because we don't have enough people, even though it was 10,000 cops out there. So they threw the recruits out there. But then what happens if an enforcement, what if they have to take enforcement action, which happened there? And that is the problem with that. That scene, that thing went viral all over the place, which is amazing. Of course, the social engineers didn't try to rip that and act like they, look at me, and they put their little narrative and their little spin. They don't even know what's going on. A lot of people were never cops, don't know the culture, don't know New York City. They just want to spin these narratives, and everything is the mayor's fault, apparently. The only thing I had to say this weekend with the mayor was, I had a video of something happening on the subway. It's clearly someone is either mentally disturbed or he's on drugs. I thought this is the 3rd mayor now, 4th mayor. I've lost track. I think it's been decades. I thought there was supposed to be a plan in place to help the mentally disturbed people in New York City, or those that like to get drugged up, or they're drugged up, or they have problems, they have issues. Where was this plan? Because the mayor has been now 6 months, and it's out of control in the subways, and it's a lot of mentally disturbed people. And you do have troublemakers and, people that are users and drugs. But before we go and give them a life sentence, the way many want to do, maybe you want to reach out and try to help them before you put them in jail, which was the Ray Kelly thing. We're just going to arrest our way out of a situation.
Yeah, and what happened to the Department of Community Safety as well? Wasn't that supposed to be a thing that mitigated some of these problems in the subway and with mentally ill people too? All that's happened so far is there's been a reallocation of resources in an Office of Community Safety, which isn't actually doing anything. But I would venture to guess, Sal, that all of the people who were involved in that fight where the recruits were trying to break things up didn't even know that those were police recruits. They thought that they were actual cops. And in regard to your question about who takes charge, it looked like the biggest guy there was the one who, ironically enough, took charge, because you had these 2 guys fighting, and then you had one of the recruits kind of grab him and push him back, and then the rest of them are kind of standing around, forming a wall, saying, separate them. One was trying to calm him down, telling him to relax. So, I mean, there was only one who was actually taking physical action. As a matter of fact, the first guy that you saw run into the frame seemed confused about what he was supposed to do, and they're not allowed to take enforcement action because the recruits. Let's say one of the people involved in the fight pulls out a knife.
Time out. That's not true. They're sworn in as police officers. Once they trained, which they're trained, that's why they're out there. They can take enforcement action. Of course, they wouldn't know how to, because this is their first time, which is why they usually go out with a field training officer, which Reed here mentioned, an FTO, or the supervisor sergeant that's literally out there with them so that they know what they're doing. Remember, though, this one was a little more unique in that there was no guns, no shields, and no body cameras. They just have a baton. I think they just got their radio. They've just rolled the dice, and we're hoping no enforcement action. But
well, that's my point. What happens? Let's hypothetically speaking here, Sal, what happens if one of those guys in the fight pulls out a knife or pulls out a gun, and you have recruits who don't have guns?
That's the problem the soccer mom didn't think of. Just throw them out there and say, oh, we'll just hope for the best, and nothing will happen out there. And then it happens, and then you go, uh-oh, what do we do? But she doesn't care, because in the end, you know what happens? Who's paying for those lawsuits? Oh, that's right. The taxpayers are paying for it. Not soccer mom out of her own pocket, not Tanya Kinsella, who is just abusing. By the way, and we'll wait till Dave comes on. What I'm hearing about this overtime structure and what they're doing to these police officers it's almost criminal, because they keep telling these cops who are past this imaginary overtime cap number that they must put their overtime in for time. I have people that even made arrests. They threw them out there knowing this. They know they could, if they do anything, they're over this magical number. And then when they go over it, they're threatening them. It's actually legit. I actually have people that can confirm they've been threatened about putting in for overtime that they did in cash. With even an arrest, you can't do that. Then you can't give them that arrest. But certain arrests, you need them because they are observation. So you can't just, then it'll be an assigned array. You make a mess with that criminal case. But this is going on, folks. I'm not kidding you. I've got this on numerous. I actually have people that are actually going through this right now. They cannot put in for cash overtime. So that's something that I definitely have to get in with Dave, because his phone rings off the hook too with these. I mean, it's really going on, folks. I'm not kidding. You can't do it. It's like saying you worked for this overtime. You work, but I'm going to tell you how you're going to get your money, even though you work for a city agency. That's just basically what's going on here, which is illegal. That's a whole another issue. But shout out to Joel Ramirez as $9.99 to the Sal Greco Show. Says good morning to all. I say good morning to you too, Joel. I hope everything is going well. But this thing with what happened with the overtime is freaking nuts. Hey, look, there's Corey Pegues in the chat.
All right, what's up, Corey?
He said that one was crazy. Yeah, it was that whole thing with the recruit. But and yeah, Eric did write a whole blog about it. But I think now, without any further ado, this weekend you saw ringing the bell. When people ring the bell, you saw a bell be rung. There was a bombshell lawsuit that was filed by my friend Dave Terrell. This lawsuit had a lot of things in there. A lot of things. A lot of claims that I didn't even know about certain things. So I told everyone I was going to have him come back. I just didn't know that this lawsuit was going to be dropped out of nowhere this weekend. So for that purpose is why we're bringing in also Eric Sanders. So without any further ado, I'd like to bring up our guest, retired Detective Dave Terrell, and his attorney, Eric Sanders.
Trust for duty again.
I see. Hey, Epps is Quatisha Epps in the chat says good morning. Shout out to you, Quatisha. We're gonna play this.
Yeah, we'll play real quick, Quatisha. Just as a question to you, give us your thoughts on the post that was put up and the video that subsequently goes with it, and what are your thoughts on the social engineering that's taken place? That you showed 8,000 likes in less than 24 hours. I mean, that's pretty record engagement for a story of that magnitude.
Yeah, that's crazy, because that social engineering, it was out of control with that one post that came out of nowhere. And somebody sent that to me. Jason Goodman sent this. So what is this? This is like 2 years old and it's going viral now. So Dave, I called you over the weekend. I said, I saw this thing, this lawsuit that was just filed. We kind of got into things on the last show, but we left it where there's going to be a part 2. It's actually going to be part 3. There's so many parts.
There's so many moving pieces to the puzzle.
There's so many moving pieces. So this lawsuit is a bombshell because it went over a lot of what happened with how things transpired with you. So we didn't say much because I thought on this episode you would be telling a lot, but now you actually dropped the lawsuit on top of it. So if we could pick it up from the top, where did this start with how they came after you in the last year and a half, all the way until what happened and then the lawsuit?
Well, allegedly, their investigation, can you guys hear me clear, or you can't hear me? Okay. Allegedly, the investigation started 18 months ago, allegedly, which we know is a crock of shit. Because when I went into the GO, they had a bunch of came in with a bunch of folders a bunch of nonsense. And on the bottom of the paper, which I'm sure Eric will get eventually, it goes, says that it was reported to Internal Affairs from someone in Manhattan court section that I was good friends with Sal Greco, and I was giving Sal Greco information. So that's what made this investigation allegedly come to fruition.
We actually know.
Yeah, and it's listed right here in the lawsuit under number 67 as well. Defendants also knew that the Sal Greco Show publicly reported on NYPD management, internal misconduct, retaliation, disciplinary abuse, public corruption, public integrity issues, and union failures. And then if you guys want to read 68 here, it also mentions it and explicitly mentions the president of the Detectives Endowment Association, Scott Monroe, as well.
Yes.
So interesting. Continue, Dave.
So, you know, as I stated before, we get into that GO, which lasted about 4.5 hours. And they asked a bunch of rhetorical questions, which made no sense about using the computers. You use the computer for this, you use the computer in Manhattan court section, you use the computer for everything because everybody in there is arrested. So you run people's names all day, all night, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Then they go into, they show me a 61. They say, do you know anything about this? And it said rape. And I said, no, I didn't know. I thought it was actually about someone that was at Central Booking or a defender, a perpetrator that was in Central Booking. So I didn't really even look at it. Then they say, well, this doesn't look familiar. They go look at the top and it said One Police Plaza. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a rape that happened at 1PP. So then they go, well, why did you look it up? I go, well, because I thought it was pretty weird that somebody got raped at One Police Plaza and no one heard about it. So he then says to me, well, did you share the information with anyone? And I'm like, no, I didn't share it with anyone. So he goes, well, he opens up his folder. He has a phone records and he goes, well, do you know who Sal Greco is? I'm like, yeah, I know who Sal is. He says, well, did you give Sal any information? And I'm like, no, I didn't give him any information. He goes, you didn't give Sal any information? I'm like, no, I didn't give him any information.
That's like, well, kind of an invasive question too, Dave. I mean, how is it their business what information and what types of conversations you're having with Sal? Did you sign an NDA with them? Do you owe them anything?
I don't owe them nothing.
With them for some
He's
reason?
right to speak to who he wants, by the way. He's not listen, it's not like he's partying to the break of dawn with a certain mob associate, which they all were doing, and that was okay. But you know, he's talking to a guy who has no criminal record. But continue, Dave.
So then it goes into, well, how long have you known Sal? Where do you know Sal from? What type of conversations do you and Sal have? I thought it was pretty intrusive. I'm like, he's my friend, and we talk. Like, I don't have to explain to you when and how and what we talk about. I'm not using the department phone. I'm not using the department anything to have my conversations with Sal. Well, they go, well, here, you look this up at this time, and at this time, Sal talked about it, which they didn't show me what he talked about. I had no idea what they were talking about. I had absolutely no idea that Sal did any video or anything. I'm like, well, I don't know anything about it. And like, well, you don't know about it? Well, you looked up this 61, and then Sal talked about it. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Did you have any conversation with him? I'm like, no, I didn't have any conversation with him about this particular case. So then we take a break, we come back, we discuss it again, and they go right back to Sal. So how long have you and Sal been friends? Then they asked me about Eric. Do Eric and Sal talk? Who else do you talk to in a group chat? Who else do you have conversations with? And it's like, it's none of your business. Like, it's none of your business.
Is this high school? Is this your high school dean talking
to
you? Or
pretty much. Why do you have conversations with Sal? Why are you still talking to him? And are you going to continue talking to him after this GO? Yes, absolutely. I'm going to continue talking to him. You guys can't control who I speak to on my phone. It's absolutely crazy. So they leave, they come back. They ask me a couple more dumb questions about, well, why is it that you talk to Sal? I don't understand why you and Sal are, like, explain to me how you met, where'd you meet? Well, we met at Central Booking. You know, how would you meet him at Central Booking? Because he had an arrest, he brought a body in, we speak, you know, he's going through a lot of shit. And I'm like, you do realize that Sal has been through a lot himself. So he knew what I was going through. I knew what he was going through. And we started having conversation through that. Like, you know, I didn't even have to really explain that to them. I shouldn't have, but I did. So, you know, they leave, they come back. Then the inspector from IAB, you know, he comes in with his hands up. He goes, you know, yeah, I don't really want to do this, but, you know, it's coming from, you know, Chief Thompson. I'm going to have to suspend you. And I'm like, suspend me? Like, okay, all right. So they suspend me, give him my shield. I walk out. Literally, as I walk out, I would say 10 to 15 minutes later, I get 5 phone calls. T, you suspended? I'm like, damn, how the hell? Like it was, I already knew when they changed the GO from, I was originally supposed to be on Broadway for my GO 15. They actually changed it to 315 Hudson. And I already knew once I went to Hudson what was going to happen. It was already, they already had their plan made up. And it was funny because I had spoke to Eric afterwards and he said, well, I should have called him. I said, honestly, at that point, I think they had their mind made up because as we're going to get into later on, we know that they don't like Eric and Sal. So it didn't even matter. They already had it, you know, they had their mind made up what they were going to do already.
And I mean, like, they're not, I'm still confused about what they were hoping to get out of this investigation. You were in contact with Sal. If the answer to that question is yes, what are they hoping to gain out of that whole interaction?
Well, they wanted me to say that I printed out the 61. I looked up the 61 and I gave it to Sal Greco. And then Sal talked about it on his show, which in all actuality, like I explained to them, he talked to me about it. I didn't know anything about it until he discussed it with me. And yes, I did look it up. Like I told him, I did look it up because I found it to be weird that someone got raped at One Police Plaza and no one talked about it at all. And but still to this day, they're not talking about it.
But to answer your question, Jack, and if you just say yes, what? Now what? What law is he violating? Because still boils down, is he violating the law? Not your feelings. And addressing me as Eric, yeah, I am Eric, but Eric Sanders Esquire. You never know what I'm talking about. So you certainly can't ask what we're talking about. I mean, these guys just have no common sense.
And another thing, too, me telling Dave, remember, if I'm asking Dave about this, Dave works, just so you know, Central Booking in Manhattan and One Police Plaza, literally, you could walk around the street. If these, you know, you're going to see the personnel from One Police Plaza walk over there and vice versa. So, I mean, if you get gas for the cars or the RMPs, you got to go to One Police Plaza, which is down the street. So if something happened there, it should be even Central Booking should know what's going on as is business because you have a possible rape that occurred right across the street. And by the way, I'm not the only person that knew of this allegation. It wasn't just me, but apparently Mr. Thompson there, the head of internal affairs, who got upset that I blew up his little footsie games with his first grade detective there and his underling, his executive in there doing the same thing with the PA. That's what I think they're really, really upset about there.
And Dave, what do you think about the role that Scott Monroe was playing in all of this? Because we hear a lot about Scott Monroe when there's new union contracts up for negotiation or when it's time to endorse Eric Adams. And he's also very heavily involved in the tri-state area first responders political ecosystem, is a volunteer firefighter in Long Island as well, and was in charge of that department for a long time too. So, you know, this is someone who's very connected and powerful within the ecosystem, goes up to Albany to lobby for legislation. So, I mean, he hasn't really said anything publicly about your case, and he doesn't really comment on disciplinary matters with other people unless it's his son. So what are your thoughts on kind of his role in your case?
Well, again, like
he hasn't said anything publicly about your case yet.
Well, I mean, again, like what really brought this whole thing about was, me and him had a conversation about this whole thing, and I was really pissed off about being suspended for something that's really a administrative at best.
No,
At,
violence or nothing.
if they were going to throw shit to a wall and make it stick, at best it would be administrative. And we spoke about it, and I was really pissed off about it. And he said to me, well, she's really upset with you because you're friends with Eric and Sal. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, she hates Eric and Sal. And I'm like, well, what the fuck does that have to do with me? I don't care. Like, I don't know her. I've never said anything derogatory about the lady. I don't know anything about her. Like, I don't know what me having a relationship with Eric and Sal has to do with this situation. Well, she's pissed off. Let's give it a little bit of time and let's see what happens. So my question to him was, well, what did you say when she said she doesn't like me? And he's like, well, she's the PC. But so you didn't argue and say,
yeah, that's
my guy. That's my guy. You shouldn't be talking about my guy.
And this is the essence of the issue here. He's trying to maintain cordiality with the police commissioner because he wants the union contracts and he wants to stay in the good graces of her. So although he acts like he's advocating for his members, anytime they're in hot water, he kind of goes in a room and hides. That's my issue with the guy, right? And again, I understand where he's coming from in terms of, in his mind, needing to stay cordial with everyone, but it's still not the right way to do business.
Right. And I get it. I get it that you got to play both sides of the fence, but you're in the end, you're still a detective and you're the detective president for the DEA. You should be defending your guys to no end. And, that kind of pissed me off with the whole situation. So when me and Eric talked about it, I didn't even expect that particular thing in the lawsuit. But, at this point, it's not personal. I have no personal beef with Scott whatsoever. And if he takes it as personal, I mean, I really don't care anyway. It's nothing he's going to do to me that I'm worried about anyway. If it's personal to him, then it's personal. But this is business, because in the end, this affects me with my pension, my family, my kids later on down the line. Like, a 30-day suspension with no pay affects your pension. They take your terminal leave from you. They took my terminal leave. That's finances that I should have had, and if he's upset about it, then he's upset. I mean, it is what it is. I really don't care if he's upset about it. It's nothing personal. This is strictly business. The conversation was had, and I was pissed off at the fact that you allowed her to say she dislikes me. I mean, she could dislike Eric and Sal because they're not in the department. But they don't even, again, she doesn't even know them.
I mean, you're paying union dues to be in his union.
Right. So
big difference.
For that comment to be made and you just sit there, it's like, well, what are we doing?
Yeah. Well, the problem with her comments are that seems to be a motivating factor in the disciplinary action, in the suspension, the ultimate not getting his good guy letter and retire identification. And now she's going to have to face the music now, her and Scott Monroe, because it seems to be a motivating factor. Because to this day, they can't disclose any information David Terrell disclosed to Sal Greco, period.
I was never called in this. But, Eric, I got a question for you. I mean, how does the police commission of the New York City Police Department turn around and listen? Scott Monroe is president of one of the unions, which means, this is what, as a union head, he represents all detectives. You have all these other union heads as well. And you're talking to them like this about a case, and you're saying, oh, I hate Eric Sanders, I hate Sal Greco, and I hate the Sal Greco show. I mean, that's also a motivating factor for what's being done with me, because I guess they must have forgot about that part, especially her, because she's saying, I don't like you, Eric, and me. And what if I don't even live in New York City? You don't even know this woman personally. What's all the hostilities, Eric? What? This can only show their motivating factor of why they sent people into the chats. You had that idiot chief. He's still running around drunk trying to tweet me at night. Congratulations, 600 views. Sal Greco, 330,000 plus. Nobody cares about you. You were a chief. You're a disgrace. So, but this seems to be a motivating factor with all that, Eric.
Well, that's what it's all about. It's all about exposure, corruption, public corruption. That's what this is all about. They don't know us personally. I don't know them personally. It's business. Maybe if I change my name to Sanderstein or Sandersburg or something like that, hey, he's a great guy. I can't believe him. Hey, listen, I'm doing a job. It's not personal to me. And Tish needs to go back in her memory and think about who she had contact with way back when I started as a lawyer. So, you know what I mean? The bottom line is this is a job. You mistreat employees. The employees have a right to challenge you. And that's it. Don't take it personal. And Scott, it's not personal against Scott or the union either. But they better be careful because they're treading in some dangerous water. Because remember, there's lots of things that I know that is going to come out in different ways. And with that union too. So I'd be very careful about throwing these little daggers around because litigation is going to get heavy for the union and for the police department, like really soon.
I agree. It's going to be, there's so many things, coming down the pike with all this. Right. And, I had another thing I wanted to ask, Dave, who wrote this letter? Because I think,
apparently, allegedly, I have to use the word alleged. I'm learning from my attorney very well. You have to use the word alleged.
Yeah.
Because, but from what we were told, I was told that it was Lieutenant Ben Gilbert in Manhattan Court Section, aka Mr. Rat IAB guy. He loves to call IAB on people.
Ben
loves it. Ben Gilbert. Yeah.
I got to be honest with you. I have a history with Ben. Ben was in the 71st precinct with me. Okay. And I thought there was a rumor that he was at that time related to or knew Jimmy Justice, if you can remember that guy back in the day, but in 2008. But when I came in the 71st precinct, Ben Gilbert was there. And later on, he would go on to become a sergeant. But I mean, they used to look, basically everybody would say, when he came, they'd be like, oh God, you don't want this guy doing any kind of paperwork, right? He was just a mess on a technical terms, we'll say, technical term. Whereas you or I were very proficient with paperwork when we made arrests and all that, he would be the opposite. He asking a lot of questions, and you're like, okay. He was a supervisor, became a sergeant. He actually was in the 60th precinct. And at that time, I remember when he was there, not when a former disgraced chief was a captain there, by the way. And they didn't like the way he was running he was in the Coney Island detail. And at the time, I told them, because I was friends with these people, go easy on him. He's got problems. They wanted to crush him then because, again, he had issues in the street. He had issues with people. I'm just giving you a rundown. Now, when I had my issue, I could show you the guy actually messaged me, right before that. He said, oh, what happened? I think he was working somewhere and he was doing traffic or he's in charge of that. And then he went to wherever it was. And, he was always upset that he thought he should be better than where he was, right? So another connection was a good old chief there, Richie Taylor, right? A guy with people you think I didn't forget about him. So I believe he was involved with the Shamroom, Ben, and also Richie Taylor. I don't know how far those links went, but Ben was, I believe, either close or wanted to be close with Richie Taylor up until recently, because obviously, where is he going? He's in central booking, and it's like a dead end. There's nowhere out from there. So it's and when you tell me he's the guy that allegedly wrote that, it's not surprising, only because he was like the odd bird, and we kind of saved him a few times from what other people just didn't like the way he did things. And I guess writing a letter shows you all you need to know on someone else. Everyone always uses those terms, those street terms. Well, I don't know. Writing a letter on something that was false to begin with. So he's my friend. Guess what, Ben? I know you too. Maybe I should show you the message you sent me. And what are they gonna GO15 you next? You were a cop with me.
Well, the ironic thing is he came to Manhattan Court Section as a favor to the previous administration, and he hates it there. So he wanted to be an IB. IB won't even take him. IB won't even take him. That's how bad it is. And no matter how much he tried to jam people up, which he's done there in Manhattan court section on numerous occasions, they still won't take him. So I guess he thought that this was going to be payback for, you know, he got one of the cops there transferred, and I wasn't happy about it. And, you know, I let him know how I felt about doing that I felt like he was being a piece of shit for doing it, because it was something that really didn't even have to go nowhere, and he actually let it go somewhere. And you know, this cop wound up getting transferred. This cop was sick, newborn baby. You know, cop was going through a lot, and for him to do what he did, I thought was the biggest rat bastard piece of move you could do. And you know, I let it be known, and I was really pissed off with him and the union delegate there, Anthony Ortiz, about, you know, why Anthony would even befriend somebody like Ben Gilbert, who smiles in your face, and any chance he'll get to stab you in the back, he'll do it in 20 seconds. And I was very disappointed in him as an individual. And, you know, obviously I cut ties with that relationship with him, but it was just disappointing that a union delegate would allow one of his officers to go down without even a fight, because you are so loyal to that Ben Gilbert, who will dig you a hole in 20 seconds. 20 seconds.
We'll time out, Dave. I think expectations need to be adjusted a little bit, because as we were talking about earlier, remember who the union delegates are working for.
Correct.
Who, as my dad famously said to me once back in elementary school, who writes his paycheck?
You're right. You're right.
You know? So yeah, no, I mean, I understand, I sympathize with you in being frustrated, but you also have to realize that union delegates, just the way they are, they're going to smile to your face and stab you in the back behind your back. That's just the way that the union works, unfortunately. What the union should be doing is making sure that you're not being mistreated and abused. That's under the union's responsibility.
Well, that is correct. But, you know, everybody has the person they got to lay in bed with. And, you know, I have great relationships with some people in the union, and then there's some people in the union I don't like at all. I just don't like the fact that, you know, here it is. You can get your HR 218. You can get your good guy letter. I was never even afforded a time to go to trial. Eric put in that we were ready for trial. How didn't I leave the job in good standing? I was never litigated in the department at all. So how is it that I don't get a good guy letter? How is it that I don't get any of that stuff? I just don't understand. I know Eric could talk about it a little more than I can, about this good guy letter and the HR 218, because a lot of cops believe that once you're modified and you leave, that you can't get it at all. It's impossible. So, you know, I'll let Eric talk about it a little more, because he's obviously more diverse in it than I am. But I want him to let the cops know that they can, because I know a lot of people are listening and they want to know. And, you know, a lot of cops want to retire, but don't want to retire because they can't get that good guy letter. They don't believe they can get it at all. That's not humanly possible.
I for one, don't have one. I believe they did the same to Epps, both who didn't commit any crimes, and neither did you. I don't understand. Eric, what is that with the HR? Why did Dave not get an HR 218 either? What is with this taking away the good guy letter? They do this a lot now.
It's called retaliation, and unfortunately, in the police culture, we love to sip Kool-Aid. So we believe everything the department tells us is the law, and that's not the damn law. That's the made-up rules. And you know what, the Perrios case, like I talked about it before. Remember the case in Nassau County? They do the same thing in all these other agencies, the state police. They do the same game. So with the Perrios case, the federal court says, oh, yeah, this is a form of retaliation. Why are you not letting these guys get their ID? You're not letting them get their good standing, because you know this is their currency to go out and continue other employment. So now Dave case, and I just filed another one recently, this is going to challenge leaving people just with no charges, just pending, and it's an allegation only. It's not proof. That's what people forget. Charges is an allegation. It's not proven misconduct. That's not the way the Constitution reads it. And now finally, there's going to be some serious challenges to it, because a court is going to ask the question, well, is there a judicial finding? Not your feelings, not your investigation, a judicial finding before you can impair someone's rights. That's what the Constitution says, not Eric's law, the United States Constitution. And now it's going to be challenged in Dave's case and another case I just filed. And I'm encouraging people, instead of walking out and being scared of them, fight their asses. because what they're doing is totally illegal.
And look at the criteria as it was laid out by the federal government for disqualification. So if you're a retired law enforcement officer, you were disqualified for participating. If you retired for reasons of mental instability, nope, Dave doesn't fall into that category. Left your agency for reasons other than in good standing or had ongoing disciplinary action. I mean, that would be something that they might try and bring up, even though there's no merit. Do not have a non-forfeitable right to benefits under an official retirement plan. Nope. Have not passed the state certified firearms qualification within the most recent 12-month period at your expense. As far as I know, Dave, you're qualified, right? So,
Okay.
I mean, that's not
applicable. Let's answer it. I love when they put these things up. You know, it's beautiful. I'm telling you, I always will be in business with the shenanigans these agencies pull. That's not the law. Quatisha Epps right now, if you follow this, she retired in bad standing. She was pending charges, right? And she couldn't prove that she worked for the agency because they went to go decertify her. Guess what? She's got her pistol license and she has HR 218. Yours truly. So for all the unions and all these other bullshit artists, you know, lawyers out there that tell you can't, those are the can't people. I'm the can people. I believe you can, because the law matters, not their feelings, not made up rules, not feelings, law. That's it. Oh, and by the way, and when she got it, it went before one of the toughest judges in this county. She only asked her 2 questions. Boom, approved. Because she followed the law. That's why. Not people's feelings, not I hate you and she's a bitch and fuck her, she stole money. No, the law. She doesn't have these impediments. Bam.
Well, time out for a second. That's an interesting comment, Eric. What do the allegations about her stealing money have to do with carrying a firearm? I don't understand how those are related.
Notice, because this is why the Supreme Court now is going throughout and they're saying all these laws and rules is made up bullshit, because that's not what the Constitution says. All right. The question is the person competent? Are they mentally capable of securing a firearm and not going to be a threat to the public safety? That's in a general idea. If you can, guess what? You carry. So Dave was carrying a firearm before he left, so why can't he carry it now? Oh, because your feelings are hurt. Oh, because you don't like Eric Sanders. I don't like him. I hate that guy. I fucking hate him. I'm a goddamn lawyer, right? I challenge things. That's what I do. I thought Tish was a lawyer, but then again, she went to Harvard, probably never fucking practiced, so she don't know what it's like to be a lawyer. It's not personal, all right? He carried a firearm, and all these other people carried firearms before they left. All of a sudden, now they can't carry a firearm when they go out. I mean, I don't understand. You know that you're trying to financially impair people, and that's why it's legally wrong. And that's one of the reasons why this case was brought. And Scott, as a union head, he should have challenged that. He should have filed grievances. There was a lot of things he could have done, but now he's going to wish he'd done it.
I agree. I think the union, I mean, Dave, I mean, how do you feel? The union, I don't think they did enough here when really they should have asked right off the bat, if your problem is if you think, because that's what they're doing. I think they did the same thing with me. I think they think that you told me, obviously in the first reading what the original charges were, right? The 49, the letterhead that they wrote.
Which, if you read it properly, go ahead, Sal. I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
I called you about this. So how the hell did you run with anything? You don't know anything if I don't say, hey, did you hear about this? And what did you do? You're saying to yourself, a rape happened where I work, right in the vicinity. No one wants to say anything. The biggest problem right now is that there's a rape that they act like it's never happened. It's a huge 900-pound elephant in the room. And the soccer mom and everyone up there, handsy, they're all looking at each other. What's this elephant? Someone got raped, allegedly, in One Police Plaza. And there's a 61 complaint, apparently, that's blank or whatever the hell it is, because no one's ever seen it. No one even knows about it until now. Right. And they're more worried about you speaking to me, which you've spoken to me for over 10 years. I've known you for 10 years. Correct. It has nothing to do with that. That's a work related thing with Dave. You know, you hear about this since you work right across the street, because I would think that is a serious issue if that occurred. And they wrote that in the 49, Dave. So how did the union not mention this you have all these allegations that are basically, you're upset that Sal Greco posted something that, and the way I posted it was not what I don't have this 61. I didn't know any of this.
But you know what it is, Sal? They don't like you. They don't like Corey Pegues.
Yeah.
You know, they don't like people that speak the truth. That's what it all boils down to. And it's sad because we're only talking about a rape that, let's think about it. I'm suspended because they said a rape and I gave the information to Sal. They're still not talking about this. It's a rape that occurred in the bathroom at One Police Plaza.
And they're lucky because I knew about the damn thing and I didn't say anything. All right. I knew about it beforehand. So, there's the information floating out there already. And if you look at the 49, it specifically says that he called about this sexual assault. So that means Sal Greco knew the information first in your own damn writing. Like, do you people read? Can you read? I mean, you write this shit. Do you actually read and comprehend words? Because you're saying he knew about it. And then the way it was written like that in a specific way that Sal did it. So even the way it was written is not what the internal affairs people are talking about. Nope. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about. And then Tish, you had an obligation to do what? Make sure your employees are taken care of. And you let Dave flounder because you know damn well the evidence they have against him is nothing. But you figure you're just going to go after him because of his affiliation. Well, you just bought the city a fucking lawsuit. And that's the problem when you use your feelings. Every once in a while, you're going to have people that fight you. And now you're going to wish you didn't do it.
And I just have a problem because, Dave, I think the union itself completely failed you. They never pushed back. They never asked this question. If the center part of this would mean someone would have had to have reached out to me. Where was this phone call or whatever to me? Because this whole thing is centered around they contradict themselves. It's written as I told you, but apparently you had to also have told me, but you can't have it both ways. So how does this even work?
Well, I can't even explain, but they don't like you. Some people in the union, they don't like Corey Pegues. They don't like the other guy on the other show. Anybody that has anything derogatory to say about the department, in their opinion, whether it's true or not true, they're not supposed to. We're not supposed to have an affiliation with. It's just it looks like it looks bad on you when you affiliate yourself with people like Sal or Corey Pegues or Macari on the other show. It looks bad.
No, it don't look bad. You're giving them some of the juice. We don't want them to have the juice. Only we can drink
They're the department.
Drink juice, all of us together. We can drink it all together and think. We
Right. They want to minimize what can go out, and that's why they charge me with the computer misuse and misleading statements. No, I didn't mislead you. I didn't mislead you at all.
Stop it. Bullshit.
Misleading statement. That's what they said I did.
Okay, see, Dave is being he's not telling like this. All right, so let's talk about this. The bottom line is when this first happened, they said, please, Eric, please. Of course, they never speak directly to me because I don't listen to them. I mean, I talk to them nice, but I'm not listening to anything about legal strategy. People, I don't fucking care. I know what to do with my client. So he tells me, Eric, the union's begging me, please don't say anything. Please. I said, okay, I'm going to do a gentleman's agreement, and I'm not going to say a word. And I sat on my hands for more than 30 days. Right, Dave? Correct.
Sal too.
Didn't say a word. Sal knew it too. We knew. Didn't say a word. They bring charges. I said, okay. All right, I'm going to answer it. Now, he didn't know I was going to answer it. And by the way, people think all this is all coordinated. No, it's not. Eric Sanders wakes up 3 o'clock in the morning. I go, fuck it. I'm going to write it now. That way, no one could ever track exactly what I'm going to do. Even the clients don't know. I say, check your email. They say, what? Oh, and they'll see the lawsuit. And then if you know the thing is getting filed. Timing is everything. So I didn't say a word. And I said, okay, good. We're ready to go to trial. Here's all his defenses under federal, state, and local law, by the way. Even if he did disclose it, guess what? It's perfectly legal, baby. Go ask your lawyers. Go talk to the legal bureau. Talk to anybody you want to. Guess what? Fucking crickets. The advocate Ryman, that clown who's in charge of the advocate's office, didn't even have the professional courtesy to email me back. Maybe I should report him to the bar. Maybe I start reporting some of these lawyers to the fucking bar instead of letting them hide out in these government agencies. They'll act a little better. He didn't even email me back. And Tish certainly didn't respond to me either. And next thing you know, he's going off. I said, they're not bringing you no fucking trial. Bring you a trial about what? It'll be a public fucking throttle. We'll bring Sal up. We'll fly him up from Florida. And there's the most important part that you didn't make, the link. And he said, no. Oh, yeah, I spoke to him. And no. He didn't tell me about it. Well, how'd you find about it? Guess what? Press privilege. Because whether you fucking people like it or not, this is a podcast. He has the First Amendment right. And guess what? He has press privilege. He don't even have to tell you how he even knew. Know what you got against them? Nothing but hurt feelings. That's what you have. And that's what should have happened. But of course, they weren't going to let that happen because didn't Scott say they're never going to bring you to trial?
Well, the politicization of the unions has gotten way out of hand in today's day and age. And I'm not just talking about Scott Monroe. I'm talking about Vince Vallong. I'm talking about what happened 3 years ago now, almost, with Ed Bolin taking $600,000.
But these employees have a statutory right to a trial. That's what the Constitution says. You accuse me of misconduct, I have a right to due process. They said, fuck your due process. We're going to let you retire like they're doing you a favor. No, you brought charge against me? Prove it. They don't want to prove it because they know they're not provable.
Well, they're essentially proposing, Eric, that if Dave meets them 20% of the way or 80% of the way, they'll meet him 20% of the way, right? Because they want a common sense solution that works a little bit for Dave and a lot for them. So that's why they're giving him that proposal. It's like when companies say, oh, we'll give you $10,000 if you leave now. But if you end up suing them, you could end up making $100,000, you know? So very, very similar situation between corporate America and what's happening to Dave.
Yeah, and in those 30 days that, you know, we were silent, that's when a certain little guy ran around and blaming me for everything that happened here. And here's the absolute truth. But see, that's what I mean. The lie goes around the world multiple times before the truth spins. And we have that guy, of course, nothing is real. Just go to socialblade.com. You'll see. And we had to take this incoming of those lies when it was always what is been filed. This is what it was. I remember Dave's going in and they're talking about me. It has nothing to do with his own conduct. You're worried about what exactly? That the world finds out that there was a rape at One Police Plaza. That's I haven't heard one article, not one peep out of anyone that they all know about it.
One more thing I wanted to mention about Scott Monroe and specifically the DEA union, because I've been seeing a lot about him recently, especially him saying that we need to increase the headcount in the DEA, presumably because he needs the union dues money. That's my thought process anyway. But, you know, with your case, Dave, you can't underestimate the political component of it, because they look at someone like you who's a more senior member of the department, a second grade detective, right? And they might be saying, hey, we're struggling budgetarily speaking. We have a new union contract around the corner. We need to start chopping off some of these more senior members of the union so we can get rid of their salary so we don't have to pay a higher pension. Because remember, Dave, if there's a new union contract in 2 years and you are now paid $15,000 more, you're now more eligible for a higher overtime rate. You're eligible for a higher pension. So, like, I have a feeling that a lot of the union representatives are looking at the payroll and the financial component of all of this when they're making such decisions.
I definitely agree with you 100%. But here's the thing, you know, it's like, you know, what's sad is I should have left 3 years ago because my numbers were actually really good 3 years ago. I should have walked out the door 3 years ago. But, you know, my plan was always to do 25. And then, you know, obviously this incident occurred. And then they didn't put me, the plan wasn't to bring me back to Manhattan court section where there's overtime. They were going to put me in like a Viper to just sit there. Oh. They put me in Manhattan courts for 1 day, and then Thompson changed it to the Viper, which obviously sitting in there just hurts your numbers a lot more. But I always remember, Eric always told me, and I was actually watching Peguesa's show, and they said staying past 20 doesn't benefit you at all. Just get out once you hit 20. And sure enough, if I would have left on my 20th year, I mean, I'm good now. I'm still good. So I don't want people to think, and but I meant to say this the last time, and somebody brought it to my attention. You know, they did a GoFundMe for me when I got suspended, and I never had the opportunity to thank everyone. Now I have a platform because on that platform, they generated so much money for me. I want to thank everybody that did donate to it. It was a big help. And, you know, I was really surprised that, you know, it was over $30,000 that I got. Wow. You know, so, you know, the people that started the GoFundMe and the people that donated, I want to thank, because you know, it showed a lot that I've always been there. I've always tried to help cops in bad situations. And when I was in one, everybody looked out and gave back to me. So for those that did donate, and I want to thank everybody that did, because that last time I was on the show, I didn't. And someone brought that to my attention, like, oh, you should have done that. And I said, you know what? I didn't think about it. So now I want to thank everyone that did donate to that GoFundMe. I really appreciate it. It helped out a whole lot. And I want to thank the people that did donate to that. But moving forward into the union thing, you know, a lot of people don't even realize that they don't even have to pay union dues and still be represented by the union.
True. That's true.
A lot of people have no idea about that. A lot of people, and they're supposed to let you know.
It's a 2018 case from the Supreme Court that says that. Look it up.
Right. They're supposed to advise all members that they don't have to donate to the union and not be in the union.
No, they're not. No, they're not donating. It's dues check off.
Dues check off. And dues check off, but you don't have to be in the union. They still have to represent you, because, you know, in the end, you know, I know people take this as personal, but it's not personal. It really isn't personal. It's this, you know, if they were in the same situation as me, I'm sure they would want someone to defend them the best way possible. And I just feel like I didn't get. I'm sorry, Eric.
I'm going to answer this question, Samantha. You don't lose your benefits, right? Remember, the union is actually the bargaining agent for all detectives. So it's compulsory whether you want to be in part of it or not. But you do not have to contribute to it with union dues and dues check off, because they turn around and do political things and things you don't necessarily want with your money. And the Supreme Court said in 2018, I don't remember the case off the top of my head, but trust me, it's there, says you do not have to pay dues check off. So yes, you still get the benefits and everything.
Yeah, good question. I didn't know that either, because I myself used to ask all the time, do I need to pay the PBA for it? I mean, look what they did with me. I mean, that was a joke. I mean, Quatisha F says the union heads sell out their membership for personal favors and friends. Don't have me call them out by names and dates that they stop by to kiss the rings.
And it's widespread too. It's not just one specific union head. It's Edward Mullins from a couple years ago when he stole $600,000 and went to a shopping spree in Long Island at jewelry stores. It's Norman Seabrook in the Coba Union. It's multiple other union heads that I won't name that weren't necessarily caught committing egregious crimes, but were still selling out their members. So it's the political component of the unions themselves which create all these problems. It's the fact that when they're working in a precinct, they're able to leave to go speak at a conference in New Jersey for one reason or another. So it's all of these factors in compilation that really contribute to the problem.
And just remember, I kind of wrote on the lawsuit because a lot of people didn't know this, that Scott is being sued as a detective in first grade as auto crime, and also the president. Go, why did he do that? Because guess what? They have a dual role. Man, I should have ran for a union. I could be a union head. So he gets his detective first grade salary, and then he gets to double that salary as the president of the union. Don't you love it?
Well, also, Eric, I want to bring something up about that, because it's not only that you get your salary doubled, you're not paying everyday living expenses.
Right, of course.
I mean, Scott Monroe is not driving to the supermarket and filling up his grocery cart every single day, right? He's being taken out to dinners regularly. He's being flown on vacation, right? He's being put up at nice hotels in the Hamptons with Boomer Esiason and Bridgehampton. Right. So I'm being serious. He's not.
Yeah, those are other things I was going to talk about. And it's not just Scott Monroe. We just happen to be talking about it because it's a lawsuit. This is what goes on in the unions all the time.
Well, I mean, think about all the money that he's saving and putting in the stock market or savings accounts because he's not spending it on living expenses. That needs to be accounted for as well. Because, Eric, when you think about it that way, he's probably making even more than double his NYPD salary because he's saving a lot more money. He's not spending it on everyday living expenses.
I think this is funny. I just have to say this just because. LER says, can anyone comment on the situation with the other podcast? Why is India Bot leaving comments on the videos? He has over 100,000 subscribers. Where is his YouTube award?
I wouldn't comment. I would say, YouTube, and ask him.
Yeah, email YouTube.
Yeah.
We're not going to break our rhythm for a comment about somebody else.
Exactly. And someone in something that's not very
relevant at all.
Relevant to what we're talking about right now. But anyway, Dave, I actually had a more important question for you.
Okay.
And I wanted to put you on the spot with this question.
Okay.
You've seen multiple regime changes throughout the NYPD. And I'm asking you this because we talk about it all the time. How much of a difference do you see between the variation of Commissioner Tisch that you're seeing now under Mayor Mamdani with the variation of her that you saw under Eric Adams?
Very quiet and very, it seemed like Eric had her a little bit more under control. Now, Mamdani pretty much doesn't really bother with the police department at all. And, you know, she's just running amok. And let me tell you, I know people, and, you know, I talk to Sal and Eric all the time. They absolutely can't stand that woman whatsoever. She's very nasty. She's disrespectful. And these are people that are close to her. She probably sits at the table with them every day, and they talk, and they can't stand her, and they want her ass out of there. They can't wait for her to leave. Oh, well, you know what?
Secrets.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, wait a minute. You the leaker. Oh, you out now. So that means I guess what I said before. People on the inside. Don't tell.
You know, they are absolutely. I mean, just think. You know, I know she's a billionaire, and you know, me and Sal talk about it all the time. Her parents own Home Depot, Lowe's, and the New York Giants, and they don't want her working for them. Think about that. Your parents are multi-billionaires and don't want you working for them.
Well, according to her, she felt like civil service was her calling in life, and she felt like she needed to do this. And I mean, on some level, you think that she should be the GM of the New York Football Giants, and that's a more appropriate position given where she comes from. But Dave, you also have to remember, I mean, this is someone who grew up in such extreme privilege that she probably had servants going around her room and picking up her dirty clothes when she dropped them on the floor. You know,
and you're probably right, but she does nothing. I mean, you know. And it's funny because I just had I had someone text me and they said, you know, I'm not going to mention who it is because I don't want to put his name out there, but she just had a meeting with some executives, black executives, and you know, he said, you know, make sure you put this out there. And this is from him quoting that, you know, she gives us, you know, notoriety and gives us positions, but gives us no authority whatsoever. So, you know, this is what she does. She does a lot of puff pieces. You know, the media always looks out. She's the media darling. You know, she does no wrong. She does no wrong. You know, what she does is just great. And we know it's not. You know, you got your cops out here working hours that are just, from what phone calls that I get, 80, 70, 80 hours, and they can't even put it in overtime. Nope. Chart changes. Over 40, and we're in June? We're not even in July. Some have over 65, 70 chart changes, and they're being told if they put the overtime in cash, they will get no overtime, period. They'll be transferred, or they'll be put out to summer all out and be put on a foot post where they can get nothing whatsoever. So here it is, you have cops that really, I mean, this budget has already been busted wide open. But just think about all the cops that have all these tour changes and can't put overtime in, which Eric already talked about is illegal because they should be able to put their overtime in. But you have all these admin lieutenants that in these commands that shit their pants and tell these cops what they can and can't do. And a lot of cops that I've spoken to personally say, oh, you know, it's no big deal. I'm like, it's no big deal. Yes, that's money that you are giving away. It's money that you are giving away to the NYPD. They don't give two shits about you. You can get in trouble tomorrow. You'll be sitting in a Viper base, right? Getting no overtime, and you've had over 20 chart changes. Some are at 60 chart changes already. 60 chart changes and can't get overtime for it. Sad.
Well, no, it's even more basic than that. They're stealing from you because remember, you're allowed to accumulate your compensatory going forward. So if you're not getting overtime, guess what's not getting factored into? Time is not being factored into your final numbers. They're stealing from you, and they're underreporting the true costs. And it's no one said this is where the unions are fucking useless because they should have long litigated this. I mean, the SBA's done it one time under the Federal Labor Standards Act. I actually wrote about this, so you can read it. It's perfectly illegal what they're doing. And there's a federal law that says you can't tie compensation under threat. Just say you're going to get it this way, that way. You just can't do it. So, but the unions don't do shit. They don't care because they're on release time. They don't care about you. The average employee is probably giving away hundreds of thousands of dollars every year, just giving it away and giving away your pension, by the way.
And not to cut Eric off, Jack, but think about this. If all the cops came together, cops, detectives, I don't know if the sergeants in the LBA has the same thing as,
they all get it. Everything up to the captain.
So if they all got together and put in all of the overtime that they've accumulated after their 20 tour changes, it would cost the city billions of dollars. But these cops are so scared to do something, and it's sad. They're actually scared. And this is where the unions, all the union members, the president, if the city council even audited these, I'm telling you, I've had cops call me, email me. I've seen it with my own eyes. I have I just can't put their name on it. I have it. 67 tour changes already and has not put no overtime in whatsoever. Scared. It was
that's what I would call being under authoritarian rule. Because you're not allowed to do anything, right, under Commissioner Tish's watch. And part of the reason she's doing this, Dave, I want you to understand this, is because she feels pressure to cut down the number of overtime hours the cops are working. But she still hasn't identified the stem and the root of the problem, which is that you have too many senior level members of service inside in the air conditioning, filling out paperwork, getting 50 hours of overtime every single week. And that's what's juicing the budget. It's not the cop working 5 hours of overtime because the Mets game went into extra innings last week, right? So, like, we're crucifying the messenger that's riding in on the horse, but we're not really identifying the actual issue here.
You know, this problem is not unique to the NYPD. It's a union problem in scale. I mean, really scale, the way union contracts are structured, that if they really want to change it, they could. But the problem is this is part of the spoil system. No one likes to hear about it. They like to close their ears. Oh, this doesn't exist. Yes, it is. This is a spoil system. The meat eaters and grass eaters and who get the money, who gets distributed, who's in power. It goes to them. Then when they go out of power, then their friends come in. It's a vicious cycle. When I talk about the Dutch Rattle Watch, oh, Eric don't know what he's talking about. This shit is from 1645, baby. This is going to continue because it's always going to be this way because depending on who the structure is where you're going to see the money going to. That's the problem. So when she came in, I'm going to clean everything. She ain't clean shit up. She just brought her friends in to do the same shit. They're doing worse. Matter of fact, they're worse than the Caban era. They talk about Caban.
Wow.
That's why the investigation didn't go no fucking where. I kept my mouth quiet about that for my own personal reason, not related to me, but related to people I represent, which is why I haven't said anything. That whole investigation was bullshit from the beginning. All right. The bottom line is this overtime has been going on since 1645. This is no new problem. And don't worry about it. And there's going to be some aviation stuff coming out soon. You heard it first on here regarding this overtime. Because even those investigations, you know what they yielded? Zero bullshit. That's what they are against those fake ass people over there. The bottom line is they won't fix the problem because it's not their benefit to fix the problem. They only complain when certain people get the money. When the other people don't get the money, then they're, oh, no, I can't believe what's going on. And then when they get it, look back. Remember, I went back when they falsely accused Epps of this money shit. We went back a long time, more than 20 years, and guess what we see? The same recurrent pattern. It's going to be in the lawsuit, so make sure and read it soon because it's going to be hidden.
She says right here, Quatishevs, PSA for all unions, be mindful what you say to any union personnel while you are being investigated. You are not protected from them repeating what you shared with them. No ACP. I can tell you firsthand, I remember someone I know, this sergeant, and we call this guy, I give you his nickname, the Godfather. Thank God this guy retired. He was a cancer like you've never seen on this job. But he came to the desk. He was at a GO15 representing another sergeant. And when I walked into the station house, he's behind the desk like he always is, courting. That's what they call him, the Godfather. All the other supervisors, he's blatantly screaming about this GO15. Whatever was said, he's telling all these other guys, making fun of this guy. And then because I strolled in, realizing he just stopped talking. So she's right.
I'll give you a legal case though. Here's where the union learned the hard way that they're not lawyers because they love to play lawyer. You know, the union go, oh, let me tell you. Remember the case of Abla Louima in Brooklyn with the object shoved up his rectum? Go back and look at the decision how he got $9 million. You know what you're going to see? Unions had to pay millions of dollars. You know why? Because they were playing lawyer.
Well, Dave, this goes back to one of the points that Sal and I have been making for a long time now, which is that, I mean, although we may have a new mayor in place and there may be some changes on paper, I mean, you really have the same cast of characters between Commissioner Tisch and Tanya Kinsella. I mean, there haven't been many changes under Mayor Mamdani. And as such, that's why I'm pissed off when I see these videos on Fox News. Oh, this is what Mayor Mamdani's New York City looks like. It's a third world country. Cops are being treated terribly. This has been going on for a long time.
Forever.
Administration.
And you know what, Jack? And let's be quite honest. You know, what is Mamdani really doing with the NYPD? He doesn't bother the cops. He doesn't bother the cops at all. You're getting your overtime. He's not bothering the cops at all.
He's got hands off. You know why he's got hands off? Because he's going to let it implode. And then that way he take his action. You can't say shit because she's Jewish and I'm Muslim and all this other bullshit. The bottom line is she fucked up with the Nokia phone back when she was in ITB for $13 million. And now she's running a police agency. Come on, man. You need to wake the hell up. He's taking the hands off, not for her benefit, for his benefit. Because when he gets ready to pull the trigger, you see all this stuff that's happening. You say, look at her. She's nasty, her personnel. She's got her, what's her name? Debney, what's the DCPI woman again? Delaney Kempner. She's wearing two hats. She's running a PR firm inside the police headquarters while she's DCPI. He's going to let it all happen. Come on. This is politics.
Yeah.
And he's come out and said this publicly, by the way. Like, I want Commissioner Tisch making these decisions. I think you should defer to her on this matter. He's totally hands off, and he's the opposite of Eric Adams, who is way too hands on. By the way, I want to point that out. Mamdani, on a day-to-day basis, is completely disinvolved what's going on within the NYPD to the point where he might not even know.
I'm almost guaranteeing you he probably doesn't know, because if he did, she would be going a long time ago. Because what she's doing is she's running this department into the ground, and the minions that underneath her aren't saying a word about it because they don't really give a fuck. They're so cutthroat up there. People are paranoid. She has people paranoid, literally paranoid of going to see her or dealing with anybody there. And you know, she has Kinsella running the overtime, who's just running a fucking muck of this whole overtime. Yep. And then you have, if you go to One Police Plaza, just think about it. You know, they say we're short cops, right? They always say we have no cops. We have no cops. We have plenty of cops. Go to 1PP. Walk in each room. Yeah. Walk in each room and look how many brand new shields you see in some of these offices. And you're like, how did this kid just get out the academy and he's in this cushy gig right here? There's plenty of them. There's plenty of cops that you can use out there. Just think, they had 10,000 cops out at the Nick detail. How many cops did they use for 1PP?
That's crazy.
I can give you a number. You want me to give you a number? 100.
And that detail is, I'm going to get to something to tell you.
And before you forget with his lawsuit, going back to it really quick, and he didn't mention that he's suing internal affairs as to why, because during the department interview, these guys were leaving the room, going back, and they're checking in specifically with Chief Thompson. That's why they're being sued. They're going back and forth, and they're seeking consultation. So whether or not he's telling Tish about this, we don't know. We're going to find discovery now, but that's what they were doing. That's why they're being sued. And these guys will allow themselves to be used as proxies to retaliate.
Yeah, this is, I can't wait to see this one play out. You know, with this, the fact that Thompson, and I told you the timing of this was that all at around the same time, I also discovered what was going on in that office, all this little footsie, all this fraternizing these people are doing, which is not supposed to be going on. But hey, you know, he's the chief of internal affairs. He do what he wants, allegedly. I mean, that's how it looks like. Shout out Frankie Palaguacci, $9.99 to the Sal Greco Show. Thank you, Sal and Eric Sanders, for exposing the truth. Evil will always attack the truth, but this proves that no amount of money, power, position is greater than the light. Also, Frankie has a case to try to get HR 218 as well.
Hey, wait a minute. I just got to mention a few people. I got clients in here, all kinds of stuff. I got this one over here from PSA 3. I have a Sanchez from the 8-4 with the second rack. Damn, there's a lot of people in here. Oh, that's all right. We're going to build your base here. I got more cases coming, by the way. With Footsie, your internal affairs bureau is going to get fucked up. I got a group of them. They're going to talk about how the only way you get to internal affairs, you got to suck, fuck, and keep your legs open. And it's coming soon, baby, because your internal affairs, you're a bunch of hypocrites. And people think I really do this for the money. I like to get paid because I have to live, but I do it more for the greater good because there's nothing worse than a bunch of fucking hypocrites. And the police department is full of them. You go out there, you fuck these cops up's career, you bring bullshit charges, these stupid ass investigation, and then it rubber stamped in that fake ass trial room. And I said it's fucking fake. All right, with the advocate's office, the trial commissioners think, oh, where you going? You ain't doing shit. All you're doing is fucking up these people's careers. And then when you go on the real world, people look at this stuff and go, what kind of bullshit is this? This is stupid. All right. The bottom line is internal affairs is getting ready to get a reckoning. And maybe this week. I'll just drop it out of nowhere, but it's going to specifically hit internal affairs and the shit show that's really going on there because she brought you the beat up man, Thompson, because he likes to, assault the women and stuff. They brought him in there to clean things up. Meanwhile, he's like the fox watching the hen house. He's worse than Iglesias. He's the fucking worst. And he learned it from the best. Who did he learn it from? Campisi, the Korea fucking IB guy. That goes back a couple years.
And I know you got a super chat, Sal, but we're going to get into Thompson in 1 second. I know that.
Yeah, right. It's because this one's for you. Lavelle Gilliard, 376 and $10. Sal Greco Show says, when I got terminated in 2024, Terrell put me in contact with people for a security gig that I still have today. He took care of some other cops in MCB. I'm proof of that. Keep up the good work, guys. So that was for you, Dave.
And for you. But so Thompson was so disliked when he was with other regimes. They actually hit his ass and put him with Donna Jones, Chief Jones. They put him deep in the closet because no one liked him. No one liked him. He was so disliked. They had him in I can't remember exactly where she used to work at. I believe it might have been
which one? Donna Jones?
Donna Jones. She worked for
employee management.
Employee management. So that's where he was originally at, employee management. That's where they stuck him in employee management because he was disliked by everyone. So this is little Papa Smurf getting his revenge on everybody because he has that little man syndrome, and this is his way of getting back at everyone. He was very disliked with prior regimes. You notice Eric Adams didn't do anything with him. You notice O'Neill, Shea, no one did anything with him until he got with Tish, who's his, he's the lappy for Tish, and that's why he's doing the things that he's doing now because he was very disliked.
He's been a lackey for years. He was a lackey back when she was in sanitation. That's what he was liaison. That's where there's really, they started hatching up their little scheme. I'm going to tell you a scheme that I know about here, because we were talking about the overtime. So I told you I was going to hit you with this. So we already know that people are at 60, let's say whatever it is. We'll make an imaginary number up. There's 50 hours of overtime a month, and they have these cops doing details, and they're being told specifically, I have someone, the ICO told this guy's delegate, if he puts in for cash, that they're going to do, like they're going to hurt this guy, whatever it is, transfer, whatever retaliatory maneuver there is, he has to go and change it back to time. That's one part. But I was being told something that's very interesting. So the overtime code that you see, FIFA is a specially generated code because that's federal funds, federally funded or overtime for FIFA, whatever they're using it for. But it's coming from someone very close to, they got to have this in the administration, in Tish's administration. This code comes down from operations. So the operations at the last minute is telling people in all out, when they have overtime, they change those codes to FIFA. Because as you know, when you have them standing out there in the Bronx or Queens or wherever it is, all that nonsense in transit, they are putting down the FIFA codes, apparently. So that's how they end arounding their budget scheme. I don't know, Tanya Kinsella, maybe you can answer this for everyone. They're putting the FIFA overtime codes for the overtime being done at all out in all different areas. That doesn't seem like that's supposed to fit. And they're still telling people, oh, you have to put in for time on top of that. This is what I got on really good source. And no, it's not Dave Terrell.
Tell them to take a picture of one of those overtime slips and give them to you, and just block out the tax number and stuff.
Yep, I'm gonna have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what?
No, I shouldn't have said that, because and Soccer Mom and all the rest of you people think we can't get this shit if we want to. We can get anything we want to anytime we want.
You know what I'm gonna do? In fact, what I'll do,
out there fighting everybody.
Sal, I'm going to try to have a few of those cops that I've spoken to do the same thing for me, so we can present it on the show for Thursday.
Perfect.
Anybody with anything overtime related that they're doing this and they're browbeating you and there's retaliation and then they're changing the codes, because what I can't really get is if they're changing it at when this is the timekeeper. That would be another problem, where have we seen this before? The timekeeper, right? If they're changing it because they're waiting for operations to call down and say, okay, use this number. Because people just fill out the slip. They don't put the code. Tell me what cop or anyone tells you what overtime code to put on there.
And nor do they see the slip after it starts getting processed. Nope. They don't know what it looks like after that.
And what I was told is there's no point. For requesting, which I tried. I have a 4 request that's 2 years old now, back from when Eric Adams had 90 phones. We're still waiting on that. It's been delayed 4 times already. What are my 4 requests? You'll never see that. The only way you're going to see that is someone sneaks the slip out, and then there's going to be that litigation over you're retaliating against people. And then you also are putting codes after the fact, meaning those police officers, and this is, mind you, what is it, 2026, so you can't blame Epps and Madger and all those people anymore. So this is 2026, and you're still hearing about them changing codes and how they're allocating overtime, and who's doing what, we don't know, right? Because it seems like there's a timekeeper doing the bidding from operations, but who's telling operations? One person seems to be stuck in the middle here. Has been there also from the beginning. When this all went around, we were calling the dream team, because Quatisha said it best. That's Tanya Kinsella. So I don't know why Tanya hasn't been under her seat should be lit on fire as we speak, because all these things I'm saying about overtime, all these things we keep telling you, she's in charge.
Why? Yeah, so to Quatisha Epps' comment here, Kinsella is the only member of the dream team still standing because she gave everyone up to save herself. A disgrace. It shouldn't matter if she gave everyone else up, because she committed a crime and she should be taken out as well. And this is what I'm saying about Mamdani. If Mamdani is really going to contribute to police reform, if he's really going to be changing the culture of the department, Tanya Kinsella, Jessica Tisch, Michael LaPetri. I mean, he's keeping literally exactly the same cast of characters and doing absolutely nothing to change the police department. So, although he gets up in front of the camera to appease his loony lefty constituents by saying, oh, I'm going to reform the police department, I'm going to change everything, there's going to be no more aggression, the CCRB is going to get final say on officer discipline. Whatever happened to that, by the way, because we never heard a follow-up about that proposal. All we heard was it floated out there, and then Mamdani said he was going to talk to Tish. Apparently, Tish vetoed it, and then we never hear about it again. So Mamdani is a classic opportunist who's capitalizing on societal frustrations to get elected and to keep himself in office. But in actuality, it's all smoke and mirrors because he's done absolutely nothing. Absolutely.
And as we're speaking, I'm getting text messages. Payroll won't process your overtime slip without the code. This is as we're speaking. This is coming in, and they change your EOT time. This is coming in as we're speaking. This is what I'm looking at. These are,
the question is, the cops are doing it, or other people doing it?
That's the question. Are the cops doing it, or the other people doing it? Right. We don't know.
Remember, from Ramirez's case, I had a SBA on the stand specifically testifying that there's 14 years of missing 28s, and people still take the time off. So this is a game that we all know. And then I want to address something about this thing with IDs. I'm going to say this one time and one time only. Quatisha Epps has a license that says retired lieutenant NYPD. She has a HR 218, and she doesn't have a good guy letter or NYPD identification card. So get it through your heads. All the wise tales you've been told, legally, she meets the same standards as everyone else, and she could travel all over the United States and all the contingent places like Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and everywhere else, theoretically, because she has the same standing as everyone else, despite Tish's fucking retaliation. So stop believing the locker room bullshit, all right? Because it's false.
I like what someone said here. I used to do this as a cop myself, and then, it gets tiring to do it. But imagine if we would have saved those. I used to make copies of all my overtime slips, meaning when they were filled out. And I think it's a good idea that people start doing that, because this something is seriously wrong here between the way they're doing the codes, and then they're sending them back to you saying you have to put it in time or else, whatever or else means. And we've already have it on record from a deputy chief, Paul Saraceno. Retaliation is legit.
It's real.
It's real.
I mean, really, do people think this is new? This is not new. It's being discussed now. It happened under Kelly. It happened under Bratton. Happened under Shea. Happened under Neal. It happened under Lindsay. It happened to everybody in the world. This is nothing new. It's just people talking about it now. Oh, the code's the code. You think the federal government don't know they're bullshitting away their budgets? It's all politics and friends. Come on. They could really, listen, they add conditions on money. They know that they're misspending money, but it's the NYPD. I don't want to be anything, and I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to be seen as the one reducing police and all this other bullshit. They act like this is something new. It's not new.
Well,
I don't think okay, Jack, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you just like opened up Pandora's box with that comment, because it spoke to something that we've talked about a lot previously, which is actually a longer conversation for another day. But we're given zero public transparency about some of the most important things that impact our lives. Notice how we've heard nothing about the Federal Reserve System or the financial ecosystem in this country. I mean, we're given such little information about any of it, and none of it is available or accessible online. So we're pretty much forced to listen to face value assessments and facts that we're being told without being able to verify anything. So that's the bigger issue at hand. Like, we don't get to see anything about what the NYPD should be budgeting for X, Y, or Z, or what they're doing to investigate fraud. Like, we don't get enough transparency about those things. And that's a broader problem with the American political system, because that's applicable, I have a feeling, in a lot of cities and counties throughout America.
I like when people try to educate me. See this Hunter person? She has a separate photo ID card. Like, what is it? You guys are fucking, your head is like cement. She can travel anywhere. The rest of you can travel. Where I could travel if I want to. I have HR 218. I don't even use this shit. My SIG is in my locker. I mean, not my locker, my safe. You guys, man, you're so brainwashed. It's scary. Even when you leave the police department, you're still sipping Kool-Aid.
But you know what it is, Eric? Not to even interrupt you. You become so robotic with the department because they tell you your own union, your delegates, they tell you, oh, if you leave not in good standing, you can't get your good guy letter, you can't get your HR to it. They tell every single cop that's listening to this, if they've been in trouble and they've been told they can retire, if you retire, you won't get your good guy letter. They tell everyone this. So not just me, I believed it until, I saw it with my own eyes that that's not true. And I still to this day don't understand, because I've sent a few of this, the information that Eric gave me in regards to how you can get it to the unions. The unions should be fighting for this. This is not something, I don't want to take money out of Eric's pocket, but he shouldn't be the one doing this. The unions should be actually fighting for the cops to get this.
And the only reason why I write it for free, so you people become fucking educated. And someone wants me to prove which classes she attend. Man, come on, man. You guys crack me up when you do that, right? You think I make representation, I could lose my license for making false representation. Of course she went to a class. And yes, she does have the damn HR 218. You need to stop. You guys listen to yourself so much. You fuck up your own pensions, you fuck everything up because you listen to these assholes that's supposed to be your friends, and because they go golfing with you and drinking, you think they fucking care about you. They don't give a shit. This is why you're screwed, which is why I write so much about this free on my website, so you can get educated. You don't have to believe me. You could click on the links and look at how I did the research to see it. You guys need to wake up, man. This is why the unions rip you off.
It's so true.
It is.
I want to get a couple of things out of the way before we're going to bring up this video with these chefs. I have to show this so people know the social engineering. But if you guys can, go to SEOginzos.com. Tell them you're a friend of Sal's. You go there, you get your 10% discount or whatever you need on your website, because, again, it's all this social engineering going on. They fix your SEOs, the search engines. You can get your package, whatever you want. There it is. Tell them you're a friend of Sal's. You get 10% off whatever it is that you need. And they do a great job because they've done wonders with my website. Also, if you want to be an Italian-American Civil Rights League member and go to the latest thing, the latest cannoli, whatever they're doing at Baby John's right now on Mulberry Street, join the IACRL, IACRL.org, become a member. There's all kinds of events going on, and you're going to love it. Soon the feast will be coming because it's July, August, so where feasts start coming up. You could get involved and get to whatever feast, whatever we'll say, whatever faction of the IACRL you want to join. Manhattan, New Jersey, Connecticut, Florida, it's there. IACRL.org, and of course, salgreco.com, where you're going to see nothing but the truth. There's articles, there's T-shirts. If you want to donate, you can donate to salgreco.com because I'm trying to get these overtime slips. This is not easy to do as a 1-2-man operation. Essentially, people. I can't do this solo. Look, I don't have HR 218. I got to still pay to fight. I have another lawsuit pending right now. So there's two of them. Nothing's for free, folks. So if you can, hit the support button. Whatever you can give goes a long way. I'm doing my best trying to find research, evidence, all this kind of stuff, but it's a 2-man operation. I'm not Fox News. Now, this video I saw, and I had to do this, so I showed these guys first. This social engineering online, whoever this guy is, I don't know what he calls himself, Matrix, whatever. First of all, I question how you have 200. Now, I want to, just to show you how social engineering works real quick. On TikTok the other day, I had 227,000 views on a video that went viral. On X, had 330,000 views. A certain disgraced chief thought he could come at me. 600 views. He deleted everything. He was drunk. But off of this, you should see followers. So you got over 100 based on a video that had 227,000. Just as on TikTok. The same would be on YouTube. For anyone that gets 1,000 subscribers a day and nothing goes viral, you got a problem. That's how, we could go into all of that another day. That's socialblade.com for that. But here is
well, before we show it, let me actually just show this funny post which was put up by Alex Bruskowitz from the Trump administration. So apparently there's now an increased level of pushback to social engineering, even though these are like the main perpetrators infiltrating the social engineering movement on social media. Alex Bruskowitz says, "Good morning to everyone except the grifter influencers on this app and the bot networks that are trying to manipulate American public opinion, but are failing." It's funny that they're like now complaining about and blowing the whistle on social engineering when they've been the main ones manipulating public.
They are the social engineers.
Eric Daughtry and Gunther Eagleman and these people that you.
Or Luma. Let's be honest.
1.9 million followers with all these crazy takes that are pro-war and all this.
There's all this social engineering. I'm all on top of it. I send this out all the time. Me and Jack go back and forth. We lose our minds seeing how people can be so manipulated. But just like you got everyone low information. That's how you got three-card Mamdani.
Or like the people on Fox News who are saying, this is what New York City looks like under Mayor Mamdani. This is what he's doing to the police department. He's destroying.
He doesn't have anything to do with the police. But this is what I'm saying, right?
Nothing to do with the department whatsoever.
This social engineering that I saw, and I'm just explaining a little bit how this works. Okay. Yeah. Now, this account that posted this video, by the way, this video is from December of 2024. I saw it originally when it was on YouTube. Okay. Whoever this account is, by the way, if you don't use your real name, you're a coward. I'm just going to say what it is. You're a coward. You're afraid to use your real name because you're afraid to get called out. Who is Matrix Mystery? I don't know. January 2024. 275 unless, and now listen, I've been viral, millions of views. You're lucky to get 50, maybe 100 followers, like I said, at best. This is the same goes for TikTok. Same goes for YouTube. I've been viral. I know what this means. This is social engineering. They are being put up there. Someone at X, Elon Musk, whoever it is, puts these people up. 275,000 followers.
That's insane. And look at like the location too. Mark Zuckerberg's bunker.
This is
unmasking mainstream media biases, and then the profile photo looks like it's from V for Vendetta. I mean, what is
does he have a cross? Is he really trying to say I'm a Christian, but I'm gonna socially engineer things? It's like somebody else saying I'm a God, I'm a Christian, badmouths people all day long with his short little body and with a big mouth. This guy, I got sent this. Someone sent me this video from this guy on his X, and I saw a guy like Paul Monroe, who was an inspector or some NYPD. You know, he has a thing called the ops desk. I thought this guy was following me. Apparently now he has 95,000 followers. He's all over Fox and screaming at Mamdani. It's all social engineering. It's all Muslim.
I'm making TikTok videos with Dana Perina's husband. Yeah, I saw that. Come on.
So now this guy, just to show you, this guy, Matrix, whoever it is, puts this video up, which literally this show. Just watch this because this is
don't spoil anything. Let people watch it for themselves. Here it is.
NYPD's highest paid employee has to retire early due to her jaw-dropping overtime pay. Records showed Lieutenant Quathisha Epps overworked roughly 74 hours a week, pulling in over $400,000 only for the last year. She was paid $204,000 for overtime for her desk job, which would be enough to cover the salaries of 3 new NYPD officers. For comparison, her boss earned $292,000 in total for the same year. The officer's early retirement comes as she faces an internal probe into alleged falsified overtime hours. Now, as she is facing a return to patrol and a pay cap, Epps is set to retire just shy of 20 years early, meaning she will miss out on a $12,000 annual bonus for long-term officers and part of her pension, but will still collect around $16,000 a month. Meanwhile, the NYPD has only 30 days to complete its investigation before Epps' pension kicks in. NYPD.
So they pronounced her name wrong, amongst other things.
You should show what this guy wrote and how many views this got, because this is what I'm talking about when you people don't realize what social engineering is all about. Show what he wrote. An NYPD officer's pay was revealed over $400,000 in 1 year, $204K salary, the rest from overtime. Now under investigation for being falsified. Really? She retired and will collect $16K a month from taxpayers. Fraud from the people sworn to enforce the law. And then 125,000 views. And you can look at the quotes. You'll see Mr. Paul Monroe. I don't know why he's even chiming in, because I thought he was, if he knows anything, I thought he watches what I do, then he would know that's.
Let me ask you, Sal, because I didn't know the answer to this question myself. Was George Washington the president when Paul Monroe was in the NYPD?
I don't know.
Was it George Washington or Abraham Lincoln? I couldn't remember.
I don't know. This is like, the social engineering is at another level. So I want to show you guys, because now I showed the world. What do you, Dave and Eric, think about that? That's ridiculous that you try to rehash something that's already been proven false. And I released 8 tapes from Paul Saraceno. There's more questions than answers regarding how they did the investigation, but somehow this guy wants to make 125,000 views. Social engineering.
Well, maybe it's somebody in the police department that just recycled that. Who knows, right? Would you be surprised?
If I really felt like doing it and wanted to do it for a little entertainment value, I would probably go after him, because that in the definition of maliciousness, right? Because we know that's completely false. But I don't have time for that. I got a little bigger fish to fry. And by the way, so the people think that was something, there's a whole lot that she did get paid for. So there's going to be a larger tab for things she didn't get paid for. And there's someone in the chat room, and I'm glad she showed up. That means, remember those little videos you were sharing about Epstein? You thought it was a fucking game? I got someone who has it, and in the chat, and we're going to deliver the power to a whole bunch of people who was in that chat. So get ready, in case you think I forgot about it. This is bullshit. And people, if they're going to comment on it, they should know what they're commenting about. The bottom line is that is inaccurate in so many different ways, and it's already been debunked.
But it brings to me, it could bring harm to someone, because now it's being you again, fraud. Like, where are you coming up with this word fraud?
There's no fraud. It's never been fraud. It's all made up bullshit. It's
Remember,
from the very beginning, and and confidently.
I wrote about. Yeah, look, this was an absolute disgrace. What does he mean? Because they're all ganging up like against her.
No, that's okay.
And then this is what really gets me with Paul Monroe, because I mean, as I just pointed out, this guy was last in the NYPD when George Washington was ruling the nation. That's a discussion for another day, but for the purpose of this case, he's like acting like some sort of expert about the budget by presenting like budget breakdowns for each specific command, but that doesn't account for the reason why she was working so many overtime hours. So again, this is a clear manipulation of reality, which is deceiving the public about what was actually taking place. And again, I'm going to go back to the point I was making earlier about him taking orders from Mr. Washington and Mr. Lincoln. I mean, the last time he was in the NYPD, Dave, there were no body cams. There were no cell phones. I mean, it's no different than NFL on CBS firing Boomer Esiason and replacing him with Matt Ryan because they wanted a younger, fresher face. Paul Monroe is like the king of law enforcement commentary on Fox News, but he hasn't policed in what feels like centuries.
And has no concept of what's going on out there whatsoever. Zero.
Right. And again, this is my issue. If he was being an analyst 5 years after he retired, okay, you're a little more in touch with what's going on. But it's been such a long time now that the profession has changed. It's like the game of baseball or the game of football or the game of basketball changing. Things evolve and change, and you shouldn't have some old head who retired 2 decades ago offering expert opinions, because they're not expert anymore.
And if he thinks that's a deep dive, he's
and he's been trained as a media professional to give Fox's regurgitated talking points, right? So like he gives these talking points. This is what NYC looks like under Mamdani. Homelessness is only bad in blue cities, which it is bad in LA, but it's also bad in other cities in Alabama and other places, right? So like he just regurgitates these terrible talking points to fit his narrative. I'm getting sick of it.
Yeah.
I mean, he puts on more makeup than any other women I've seen recently to go on TV, and like he's disguising his opinion as like expert analysis.
Ep says this: I'm unbothered by this gentleman or what anyone else has to say. Folks have no idea, but you all will soon enough.
Oh, and remember when I first, and this is, I'll talk a little bit about it since she's in the chat. When I first met her, she was a completely different place. It took a lot of work to get her to the point.
This is hysterical. I have to show you guys this real quick. So in the article that Moreau referenced, the crime stats are from 2013. I mean, what's going on? What's going on, man?
That's my point. He can't. He's a clown. He can't pay attention to stuff like that.
Right. He should be in the circus because he's a clown.
When I first met her, she was totally different. But I told her that, if you work with me, you're gonna come out the other side. And she's on the other side. And believe me, people think I'm a nice guy. I'm not. I really hammer these clients, all of them. Am I lying, guys? I be fucking playing. I don't play with the clients. You know why I don't play with them? Because I want them to understand what they're going to deal with. They got to deal with people who are going to challenge them but don't give a shit. Right now, she's on the other side. And there's going to be hella pay, boy, because you see this one? Ooh, it's going to implicate a lot of bullshit from City Hall to One Police Plaza and all the names and things that go with it. And unfortunately, she didn't have the wherewithal to grab those other goddamn books. If she had those other books, she could really do you in. But we know one thing, there's a few things that's left over. But if those notebooks and that red book was available, fire would be delivered.
Here's Mr. TikTok dancer in a video with Dana Perina's husband 2 weeks ago on the Jersey Shore.
It looks fake.
This is the guy in the white shirt. This is the guy who's presenting expert analysis on Fox News that knows everything about law enforcement. Get the hell out of here.
He said he did a deep dive. Just showing you that's a deep dive shows you he doesn't even understand what a deep dive is.
Right.
That's not a deep dive.
A clown,
Big time.
Statistics from 2023 about a story from 2025. Yeah, that's real accurate. And by the way, there were new union contracts negotiated between the time those crime statistics were released and the time
the
after
last time I checked those, didn't I write all about this overtime thing? And I did a whole analysis. But hey, listen, it's all for free, by the way. I don't make money off this, but it gives people information that can help you. The bottom line is this thing about EPS and all the rest of this stuff is going to be bad, really bad. And now you see the people starting to come forward because they know what the truth is. Tish lied to the public, but the legacy media won't write about it.
Nope.
They won't write about it. Just like with the thing what happened with Dave. Can you imagine a police commissioner saying she hates employees and hate lawyers? If that was Shea, O'Neill, well, any one of them, should have be all over the fucking paper. They protect this one, but it's not going to protect her because you know what she can't run away from? Her own subordinates. Because you sit there and you order them all over the place. Remember, you're like the dictator. And right there sitting next to you is the one that's giving up all the information. Oh, not the ones you think either. The ones you don't suspect. They give up the most information. That's why I told you. Anytime we want, we can find out anything about the police department. See, they won't call me directly because I'm an attorney. That's smart. Unless they want to really talk to me about something. But I love anonymous mail. I love mail. You know why? I get all kinds of shit in the mail. I love it. I get all kinds of stuff. So, and hey, listen, keep on leaking, baby, because these kind of people, we got to get them out of there. And the bottom line is, we do this stuff. What I do is with cases is for the honest cop because you can't fight them, but you got to have someone who understands their bullshit. This is why I'm talking like this. When I go to court, I don't speak like this. I'm speaking. Remember that thing in the academy, transactional analysis? You can speak forever as long as you talk and people understand. That's why I do it like this. Because I want you to know I'm straight up. I'm from the same culture. Fuck these people. Sue their asses. The problem is not enough for you suing.
That's the biggest problem.
Sexual harassment, the shit that goes on, the fucking you want to get a promotion, you have to drive this fucking clown. You have to have sex consent. Oh, she gave the sex. You think she want to fucking have consensual? That's not consensual sex, not at work. There's no such thing. The bottom line is. Yeah. We're here to expose this shit and fucking break the whole system. We won't be able to break it, but at least we can be optimistic with our rose-colored glasses. Believe we're going to do it. That's why they hate us.
Yeah, and there's going to be
no one else is doing that.
There's going to be more to come too. I mean, listen, you guys gave me a lot here. We got like almost like an hour and 50 minutes. So, last word from you, Dave and Eric. What are your thoughts on everything, and what do you got to say, everyone? I think there's going to be a chapter 3 with this too.
Well, we're definitely, whenever you need me, Sal, I'll come on in a second. I always love what you're doing. I love your platform. Like I told IAB, I really, when I was working, I really didn't have a lot of time to listen to the show. But now that I have time to listen to the show, you're actually really doing good, positive things. I think you are definitely an ear and eyes for cops that you're the word for cops that want to speak. They definitely should email you or figure out a way to get in touch with you to give information, because what you're doing is good. Cops like it. I know they tell people in the academy not to listen to the Sal Greco Show,
True.
which is, which is the craziest thing ever. But we are definitely going to continue pushing your program, giving the narrative, whatever. Now I can tell IAB and everyone else, whatever information I get, I will be giving it to Sal Greco. So you now, for sure, I'll be giving it to him now, 1,000%, because I wasn't doing it before, but 1,000% we'll get that. I'm going to work on getting those overtime slips for you so you can see exactly what it is now. So now they can know, and yeah, we're going to definitely push this. We're going to get this thing really going. It's just sad that, people that do the right thing, yourself, Corey Pegues, they hate you guys. When I was working, they hate you and Corey Pegues. They don't like the fact that you guys put out good things. Pegues is Pegues was the thug supervisor, the thug guy. This guy should never have even been a cop. He should never been. These are things that they tell people.
Hey, wait. But he's got a sponsor though. What is it? Vodka? Whatever the vodka bottles?
Yeah,
he's got a sponsor, baby.
That's right.
He's into the next life.
That's right. And I'm proud. I'm happy for him, and hopefully I get to meet him one day. But Sal, just keep doing what you're doing. We're going to keep pushing this narrative, and hopefully get this department. Like Eric said, we know we can't change it in one day, but at least let everyone know that there's a voice. Because clearly, when you go to people in the unions, they're not helping you properly. Because some of these things, like my lawsuit that I'm going through right now, it really should be something that the union's doing. And maybe on part 3, me and Eric will touch on some other things that we know for a fact that they've done, and this shouldn't be an expense that Dave Terrell should be paying.
Oh, just one thing I want to address to Hunter. He goes, Nassau PD yanks his 3 pistol because of his gang affiliation. That is absolutely false, because I've represented Corey, and the only reason why he doesn't have his stuff because he didn't want to continue. Because if he would continue, he would be in the same situation as Epps. And everyone that does it, they will be in the same situation. So see how people go with these wise tales? And he still got his pension too, by the way. So he don't need a pistol. He's got 3/4. Remember that.
Right.
One day, maybe I gotta have Corey on. I just gotta call him and see what.
Yeah, I that's one person I definitely want to meet. I hope Eric or one of you guys can make that happen. I have so much information I would like to tell him about himself that has been told before I even put it on the show.
I want this too, people. If you guys think or whatever you want to think about Corey, he's actually a very smart guy. You guys don't realize that. When you talk to him, Corey knows a lot about a lot of people and a lot of things, and he's very smart. So don't think, thug, whatever narrative they put out then is the same thing they do now. Same thing they do out now.
And the same thing they do about you too, Sal. They don't know you, But hey, it is what it is. Again, thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it, Jack. Pleasure meeting you. Good guy. Hope to come back soon with some positive info. And like I said, if I can get everything by Thursday, Sal, even if I have to email, you don't even have to have me on the show. I just want you to get it so we can get the information out.
Wait. You mean get it that fast? Shh, you're not supposed to say that.
Yeah, you're right. But we're going to get it very quickly, though. Very quickly.
Excellent.
Very quickly.
We look forward to moving over, Dave. We're looking forward to having you again soon. And I enjoy going back and forth with you about some other non-lawsuit related topics.
Okay, absolutely.
Mayor Mamdani and AI and some of the other social engineering narratives that are going on, because you're an everyday human being. You have opinions on these things too. So it's important to start the dialogue about other topics as well.
Okay, you got it, brother.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Good, Dave.
Yep. Take care, guys.
Thanks. Thank you.
Ooh. He was really a wealth of knowledge this time around. I mean, he was great the first time around, but he was even more seasoned this time around. And he really came out firing too, which I liked. Great guy, David.
I think the lawsuit itself is very important because it does mention a lot of things. And to hear the soccer mom saying how she hates people. I hope you can attest to that when you're getting the post. And by the way, this guy, I had that lawsuit and then we pulled it away for a reason. But you're going to be seeing something about that very shortly, especially certain people that want to go on, especially a former disgraced chief. He's another guy who's as big, his mouth is as big as his belly, maybe bigger, who knows? But that's a whole other story for another day. I don't know if you want to touch up on anything else, but we only
there's a couple things that I want to touch up on before we head out the door for today. I touched up on one of those things, which is that Mamdani's been all over the campaign trail for a million different candidates for everything from bird watcher to congressman. No, I'm just kidding about bird watcher. But he has been campaigning for people in the state Senate, state assembly, Congress. I mean, he's given out 1 million of endorsements, one of which aired during the NBA Finals. But Sal, he's been very mum and quiet about the race going on in NY12 right now, the battle to replace Jerry Nadler, if you want to call it that, which is significant because he lives in that district. He's voting in that district. It's one of the wealthiest congressional districts in America, one of the most influential. And it seems like it's kind of breaking the Democratic Party a little bit because on one side of the aisle, you have Michael Lasher, who's been endorsed by Nadler. He was endorsed by Governor Kathy Hochul. You have Mamdani being completely quiet. But then you have someone like Letitia James, a member of the DSA, taking pictures with Mr. AI, Alex Boris, the state assemblyman who proposed and had the RAISE Act passed in the state assembly, which deals with AI regulations. And it was, as you guys can see on your screen here, Bill A9449. It's very regulatory in terms of AI stuff. So this is a really interesting race, Sal, because there's a lot of partisan divide, but also there's very large implications about the future of AI if a former Palantir employee ends up becoming a member of Congress.
Very interesting, especially since social engineering needs to get put on the reps. Otherwise we're going to have more people pull up videos from 3 years ago and act today. It's wild stuff, man. Wild stuff. I like to say one thing on sports. I mean, the Marlins have been on fire. The Mets have not been. What to tell you there, and the Yankees still are looking good. But next month is the All-Star game, so we're right around the midway point. So buyers and sellers are going to come out in about the next 4 weeks. You're going to be seeing some trades. So we'll see what happens with all of that stuff. But that's
I think the Mets are going to end up selling, and they have a couple pieces that they could auction off in Freddie Peralta, Clay Holmes, perhaps if he ends up coming back, Jared Young, a veteran bat off the bench. But Sal, the problem is their most tradable commodities right now are unavailable. You have Clay Holmes, who's on the injured list, and you have Freddie Peralta, whose stock is like all the way in the toilet. Remember, he was talking about an 8-year contract before the season. I think that's dead, but I don't think any team is going to want to take him for a short-term rental if they're forced to give up great prospects now either.
He's terrible. You can't have him. Come on, Freddie Peralta. It's just very frustrating to be. But hey, FIFA soccer's going on. And listen, if you're out there working right now, please stay safe and stay vigilant. And also, you're probably gonna get your overtime slipped back from cash to time with a different overtime code. Who knows? Well, that's what's going on with everything out there. But listen, thank you guys for being here. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, on Rumble, on Facebook, on TikTok, and Instagram at the Sal Greco Show. You can follow Jack on X and Instagram at J_Stern97 and myself on Instagram and X at the Sal Greco. I don't know what else to say, Jack. I guess I
think we said everything that we possibly could say in the span of 2 hours. So I'll just sign off by saying, hope everyone has a good day. Hope everyone enjoyed Father's Day, some time with dad or an important male older figure in your life yesterday, uncle, whatever it may be. And yeah, be sure to tune into our show on Thursday because we're going to have a ton of new interesting revelations as well. So stay tuned. There's a lot to come.
There's a lot more to come. We're back on Thursday, 11:05 a.m. Hope everyone had a great Father's Day. Of course, I miss my father very much. I still love you in heaven, Dad. And with that, I'll see you on Thursday. So until then, we're signing off from South Florida, which, as you know, is a sunny place for shady people.
What I'm asking New Yorkers for is to look back at all the things I've done as a deputy commissioner for operations, the assistant as assistant commissioner, and my time as a not only as a New Yorker but as a police officer. I get stuff done.
Listen, there was a book that came out that Jasmine Ray wrote. And in the Daily News today, it was stated that there was a sexual action that happened in Borough Hall. She reported in that book. And it wasn't. You're a dark, sick person, man. You know that? You're a dark, sick person. Your name was on the byline. And there's some of you that have been covering me. You guys could part. Let me do this. Y'all could depart. Y'all could depart. Some of you have been covering me for 3.5 years. Some of you are so sick and dark, and you're the leader of that. You're one of the most dark writers that I've ever seen in this city. And your personal sick vendetta and the sickness of how you think of over-sexualizing a black man, that in the book is stated that there was a sexual action in Borough Hall. That was never in the book. But that's typical of the sickness and the darkness of your sick mind. You're one of the sickest reporters I know. Go to the next question. You're a sick person.